My wife had moved to her mom's house to take care of her, so I decided to surprise her and went over there with our 7-year-old son. The front door was slightly ajar. My son peeked in and pulled my shirt. "Dad, look quietly." I swear I didn't wake up expecting to become the villain in my own story, but someone had to tell the truth. When I pulled into my mother-in-law's driveway at 11:47 a.m. on a Saturday morning with a box of Krispy Kreme donuts and my 7-year-old son Lucas next to me, I thought I was doing something nice, something supportive. My wife, Sarah, had been caring for her terminally ill mother for 6 weeks, barely coming home. She was always exhausted when she did, always stressed, always talking about how hard it was to watch Linda waste away from stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I wanted to help, to surprise her, to show her she wasn't alone. But when we got to the porch, I noticed the door was slightly ajar. Not much, just half an inch, enough to hear voices inside. Lucas squeezed my hand. "Dad," he whispered, "something feels weird." I was about to knock when Lucas, being a curious kid, peeked through the crack. He instantly froze. His fingers tightened on mine and he looked up at me with the widest eyes I'd ever seen. "Dad, look quietly." I leaned down and looked through the door opening. The living room was fully visible. Blankets everywhere, medicine bottles lined up on the coffee table like stage props. Medical equipment I had helped pay for leaned unused in the corner. But that's not what made my stomach drop. It was the laughter. Sarah's mom, Linda, was sitting on the sofa wearing a silk robe, a glass of red wine in her hand, scrolling through her phone feed. Not sick, not dying, not tired. Her hair was done, her makeup perfect. She looked healthier than I did. Sarah was standing next to her, holding up her phone. "Okay, Mom, one more photo. This is for the midday update. Make a sad face, like you're really suffering." Linda rolled her eyes, but put on a weak, pained, suffering, Oscar-worthy expression. Sarah snapped the photo and smiled. "Perfect, going straight to GoFundMe.com. Should earn us a few more grand by tonight." My blood ran cold. GoFundMe? Lucas tugged my shirt. "Dad, what is GoFundMe?" I couldn't answer because Sarah kept talking. "We're already at $22,000, she said, scrolling through her phone. "Can you believe it? People are so generous when they think someone is dying." Linda laughed, a real laugh. "I told you this would work. Your father never believed in creative income." Sarah let out a giggle. "My dad was boring. This is easy money, and Mark keeps sending more whenever I ask." She said my name like I was a joke, a chump, an idiot. I backed away from the door, my heart pounding, my hand shaking. Lucas looked up at me, confused. "Grandma is okay?" he whispered. "She's fine," I answered quietly. "Too fine, actually. Let me back up. I had been married to Sarah for 9 years. I met her when I was 27, working as a software engineer at a mid-sized company in Austin. She was a marketing coordinator, beautiful, smart, ambitious. We dated for 2 years until I proposed. Life was good. We bought a house, had Lucas, built what I thought was a solid marriage. Money was never an issue. My salary was $120,000 a year. Sarah earned $65,000. We lived comfortably, always saved, and took nice trips. Then 6 weeks ago, everything changed. Sarah called me at work at 2:17 p.m., sobbing, crying uncontrollably. "Mark, it's my mom. She collapsed. They're running tests. It doesn't look good." I left work immediately. I went to the hospital. I found Sarah in the waiting room, mascara-streaked hands trembling. "They think it's cancer," she said. "In the pancreas. They're doing a biopsy, but the doctor said it looks advanced." I held her while she cried. I called my boss. I took 3 days off. I sat in waiting rooms. I supported my wife through the worst time of her life. The diagnosis came 2 days later. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 6 months to live, maybe a year with aggressive treatment. Linda was 62, too young, too healthy. The diagnosis was like a punch to the gut. "She needs to start treatment immediately," Sarah told me, crying. "But our plan doesn't cover everything. We're going to have to pay out of pocket about," she paused, calculating, $40,000. "We'll figure it out," I said, "whatever she needs." Sarah hugged me tight. "I need to move into her house, take care of her. She needs someone there 24 hours. For how long? I don't know. For as long as she has. I didn't question it. How could I? My mother-in-law was dying. My wife needed to take care of her. That's how families work. Sarah moved out the next day, took a leave of absence from her job, and took on the role of full-time caregiver. I wired the first check, $8,000 from our savings, for medical costs, gauze, meds, equipment. I sent it without hesitation. The first strange thing I noticed was 3 weeks ago. Sarah posted on Facebook, "Day 21 caring for my mother, the hardest thing I've ever done. Watching her suffer breaks my heart. Please pray for us." The photo showed Linda in a hospital bed, tubes in her nose, eyes closed, looking frail. 600 comments. "We are praying. Stay strong. Sending love." But something in the photo bothered me. The time. It was taken at 7:13 p.m. Sarah always said Linda was asleep every day by 6 because the pain meds knocked her out. I convinced myself I was imagining things, that grief makes you paranoid, until I noticed the manicure. In the photo Sarah posted 2 days later, another heartbreaking update, her nails were done, a perfect professional French manicure. That cost at least $60. "Sarah, did you get your nails done?" I asked during one of her rare calls home. "What? No. Why? In the photo yesterday, your nails look freshly done." Silence. Then, "Oh, that photo was from last week. I just posted it late. I haven't had time for self-care, Mark. I'm busy trying to keep my mother alive." The guilt hit me immediately. Of course she hadn't gotten her nails done. I was being ridiculous. Except for the fact that the photo's metadata, which I checked because I couldn't shake the strange feeling, showed it had been taken the same day it was posted. The second strange thing happened 2 weeks ago. Our joint credit card statement arrived. I always reviewed it, a habit inherited from my finance-obsessed parents. Item, DoorDash, $147.63. Date, 3 days ago. I called Sarah. "Hey, quick question. Did you order DoorDash?" "Yeah, I was too tired to cook. Is there a problem?" "No, just $147 is a lot for delivery food." "Mom can't eat much, but when she can, I order her whatever she wants. She's dying, Mark. I'm not going to deny her comfort food." "Right, of course. Sorry." But $147 for someone who could barely eat. That was sushi for 4 people. Expensive sushi. I looked at the previous week's statement, another DoorDash, $160, and another $120. In 3 weeks, Sarah had spent over $800 on delivery for someone who theoretically couldn't keep food down. The third strange thing happened 10 days ago. Sarah posted another update. "Mom had a terrible night. The pain is unbearable. We're considering palliative care." The photo showed Sarah exhausted, makeup-free, hair in a messy bun, strong and suffering, but in the background, almost imperceptible, was a Neiman Marcus shopping bag. I zoomed in, confirmed. Neiman Marcus, the luxury department store where a t-shirt costs $300. I checked our card. No Neiman Marcus charge, which meant she had used cash or another card. I thought maybe the Neiman Marcus bag was old. Maybe it was there before Linda got sick. But my gut screamed otherwise. 4 days later, I hired a private investigator. His name was James Rodriguez, a retired 23-year HPD detective now running Rodriguez Investigations. His website had testimonials from divorce lawyers and insurance fraud cases. I called him from my car during my lunch break. "I think my wife is lying about her mother's illness." "What makes you think that?" I told him about the photos, the spending, the inconsistencies. "It could be stress," he said. "People act weird during terminal illnesses." "Or she's lying. What do you want me to find out?" "Is Linda actually sick? Get me the medical records, the truth." "That's not legal," he replied, "without consent. I need to know if my wife is lying to me." He was silent. "I can do surveillance, document what I see. If your mother-in-law is healthy, it will be obvious." "How much?" $2,000 for 1 week, plus expenses. I wired the transfer that afternoon. James called me 3 days later at 6:47 p.m. "We need to talk in person." We met at a coffee shop across town.
He slid a file folder across the table. "Your mother-in-law is not sick." My stomach dropped. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. I watched the house for 3 days. Linda leaves every day at 9:30 a.m. She goes to yoga, then has lunch at expensive restaurants, then shops. Yesterday she came back with bags from Nordstrom, Sephora, and Williams-Sonoma." He showed me the photos. Linda in workout clothes, laughing with friends outside a yoga studio. Linda eating lunch, drinking wine, looking healthy and vibrant. Linda carrying shopping bags, smiling. No woman who was dying moved like that. "There's more," James said. "I checked public health databases, open records. Linda hasn't been admitted to any hospital in the last 3 months. No ER visits, no oncology appointments." "Are you certain?" "I am. Whatever your wife told you is a lie." My hands were shaking. "Can you prove this legally?" "I can get the medical records with the proper authorization. If she's seen any doctor recently, we can subpoena those records. But, Mr. Shen," he leaned forward, "if your wife is faking her mother's cancer, that's fraud, especially if it involves money." "They have a GoFundMe." His expression turned serious. "How much have they raised?" "I don't know. Sarah mentioned it once, but said she didn't want to ask people for money." "Check now." I grabbed my phone, searched Sarah's name plus GoFundMe, and found it instantly. "Help Linda fight stage 4 cancer. Current total, $22,890. My vision blurred. "Jesus," James muttered. "That is serious fraud. Wire fraud if they're using online platforms. A federal crime." "What do I do?" "Document everything. Get the medical proof that Linda is healthy. Report it to GoFundMe and the authorities. And, Mr. Shen," he stared at me seriously, "get a divorce lawyer today." The next morning, I contacted Dr. Patricia Avance. She was Linda's primary care physician. I knew because I had seen documents when Linda visited us last Christmas. I called her office and explained I was Linda's son-in-law and concerned about the diagnosis. "Mr. Shen, I cannot discuss medical records without consent. I understand, but my wife claims Linda has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. We're sending money for treatment. I just need to know if this is true." Silence. Then, "Mr. Shen, Linda does not have cancer. She came in for a routine checkup 6 weeks ago, perfectly healthy. Her blood work was normal. We didn't even order imaging tests." My throat closed up. "Are you completely sure?" "Completely. She is my patient. I would know." "Can you put that in writing?" "Not without a subpoena or Linda's consent." "What if I tell you fraud is involved, that people have donated over $20,000 based on a false cancer diagnosis?" Her tone shifted. "That is illegal." "I know. I need proof. Get a lawyer. Have them subpoena my records. I will cooperate fully." I hired Alexander Martinez that afternoon. Martinez and Associates, family law, 22 years practicing in Texas, experience with high net worth divorces and fraud cases. "Mr. Shen, what you are describing is serious. Medical fraud, GoFundMe fraud, possibly wire fraud. This is not just a divorce case. This could turn criminal." "What do I do?" "We build a bulletproof case. Medical records proving Linda is healthy, financial records showing where the GoFundMe money went, screenshots of every post, every update, every lie. We document everything. Then we expose it publicly and legally." "How long will that take?" "A week, if we move fast. I will file the subpoena for Linda's medical records today. Once we have that, we take everything to the police and the press." "The press, Mr. Shen?" "Your wife committed fraud against hundreds of people. They deserve to know, and public exposure prevents her from claiming misunderstanding." "What about my son?" "That is why we do everything right. We will file for full custody. We will document that your wife is a liar and a fraudster. No judge will grant her custody after this." The medical records arrived 4 days later by courier. I opened the envelope inside my truck, hands trembling, heart pounding. Official letterhead from Dr. Avance, notarized statement. To whom it concerns, this letter confirms that Linda Morrison, DOB, December 3, 1962, is my patient. She underwent a routine physical examination on September 15, 2023. All blood work, imaging, and diagnostic tests presented normal results. Mrs. Morrison does not have cancer of any kind. She is in good health for her age. Signed, Dr. Patricia Avance, MD. I read it 5 times. My wife had lied about everything for 6 weeks, stolen from strangers, stolen from me while I worked, paid bills, and raised our son alone. The next 2 days I spent gathering the rest, prints of every Facebook post Sarah made, every tear-jerking update, every photo of Linda looking sick, photos I now knew were staged. Bank statements showing the $8,000 I'd wired, card statements with the absurd DoorDash orders, the shopping, the spas, James's surveillance photos, Linda at yoga, lunch, shopping, Dr. Avance's medical records. Alexander compiled everything into a legal dossier. This is the strongest fraud case I've seen in 5 years. The prosecutor will have no trouble indicting. When do we act? Tomorrow. I will send everything to the GoFundMe fraud department, the local news stations, and the police. Expose it all at once. They won't have time to concoct excuses. Sarah will lose everything. She should. She's a criminal. But I had one more thing to do. Saturday morning. Donuts. Lucas. I needed to see it with my own eyes. I needed to witness the lie before I destroyed everything. So I drove to Linda's house, parked in the driveway, and walked to the door with my son. And there they were, laughing, plotting, celebrating how easy it was to steal from good people. I pulled Lucas away from the door, and we walked back to the truck. My phone was already in my hand, the drafted email ready to send. "Dad," Lucas whispered, "what's wrong?" "Nothing, son. Daddy just needs to do one thing." I opened the email. I checked the recipient list 3 times. GoFundMe Fraud Department, Houston Police Financial Crimes Unit, Channel 2 Investigative, Channel 11 Investigative. And all 347 people who commented on Sarah's posts via BCC. Subject: Fraud Alert. Linda Morrison Cancer GoFundMe is a scam. Email body. Attachments: Dr. Patricia Avance's medical records confirming Linda Morrison has no cancer and is in perfect health. Surveillance photos showing Linda at yoga, expensive restaurants, and shopping, activities impossible for a terminal cancer patient. Bank records proving GoFundMe money was spent on luxury items, not medical treatment. Screenshots of staged photos used to deceive donors. Linda Morrison and Sarah Shen defrauded over 300 donors, raising $22,680 with a fake cancer diagnosis. This is criminal fraud. The evidence is attached. My finger hovered over the send button. I thought of Sarah, the 9 years of marriage, the life we built. Then I thought of the 347 people who donated, believing the lie. People who likely gave money they could ill afford, thinking they were helping someone die with dignity. I hit send. The email was delivered at 11:52 a.m. I waited 60 seconds. Then I opened the front door and walked in. Sarah and Linda were still in the living room. Linda was posing for another picture, this time with an exhausted but hopeful expression, while Sarah adjusted the lighting. They both whirled around when I entered. Sarah's face went white. "Mark, what are you... How long have you been..." "Long enough," I replied. Linda jumped up quickly, spilling red wine onto the expensive rug. The red stain spread like blood. "Mark, this isn't what it looks like." "No? Then what is it? You two faking cancer to commit fraud?" Sarah's phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor, the screen cracking. "Mark, I can explain." "Explain to whom? The police? GoFundMe? The 300 people you stole from?" Her voice went sharp. "We didn't steal. People donated willingly." based on lies. That's called fraud." Linda's face went pale to red. "You had no right to spy on us. You had no right to steal from people who trusted you," I shot back. Sarah stepped forward, hands raised as if trying to soothe a wild animal. "Mark, please, we can fix this. I'll give the money back. I'll delete the posts. No one has to know." "Too late. They already know." Her eyes widened. "What did you do?" "I sent the evidence, the medical records showing your mother isn't sick, the surveillance photos, the bank statements, everything, to GoFundMe, the police, and every single person who donated." The color completely drained from Sarah's face. She looked like a corpse. "You what?" "I also sent it to the local news stations. They'll run the story tonight on the 6 o'clock news." Linda grabbed Sarah's arm. "He's bluffing. He wouldn't do that." "I'm not bluffing," I replied. I pulled out my phone and showed her the sent email. Timestamp 11:52 a.m. The long list of recipients scrolling down the screen. Sarah's legs gave out. She landed hard on the sofa. "Mark, you can't. Everyone will see. My work, my friends, my family, everyone will see the truth. Please." Her voice genuinely broke. "Think about what this will do to us, to Lucas, to our family." "I did think about it. That's why I'm teaching our son not to be a liar." Linda started screaming. "You vindictive bastard! You're destroying your own wife. Why? To feel superior?" "I'm destroying a criminal who happens to be my wife." Sarah was crying now. Real tears, not the performance ones. "Mark, please, I made a mistake. I was desperate. We can work this out." "Work what out? You stole $22,000 from strangers, took $8,000 of our savings, lied to me for 6 weeks, and faked your mother's cancer? Which part of that is fixable?" "I'll pay it all back. I'll fix it." "You can't fix this. You can only face the consequences." The first siren began to sound in the distance. Sarah's head snapped toward the window. "No, no, no, no." "I called them before I came. They should be about 3 minutes out." Linda grabbed her purse. "We're leaving now. Sarah, get your things." "You're not going anywhere," I interrupted. "The house is surrounded." It wasn't, but they didn't know that. Sarah lunged at me, actually lunged at me. "Give me your phone. Delete it. Delete everything." I stepped back, keeping the phone out of reach. "It's sent, Sarah. It's over." She collapsed on the sofa, sobbing. Linda stood frozen, realizing the walls were closing in. Lucas tugged my sleeve. "Dad, what's happening?" "Justice, son. We're seeing justice happen." The patrol car pulled up at 11:57 a.m. Through the window, I saw Officer James Martin get out of the car. Behind him, Detective Rachel Foster from the Financial Crimes Division. They walked to the door. I opened it before they could knock. "Mr. Shen," Detective Foster asked. "That's me. The suspects are inside. Sarah Shen, my wife, and Linda Morrison, her mother." Detective Foster stepped inside, notebook in hand. "Ms. Shen, Ms. Morrison, I'm Detective Foster, Financial Crimes. We have received evidence of fraud related to a GoFundMe campaign. I need to ask you some questions." Sarah was sobbing. "This is a misunderstanding." "We have medical records indicating you do not have cancer, ma'am," looking at Linda. "We also have surveillance footage showing activity inconsistent with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, as well as financial records demonstrating the GoFundMe money was used for personal expenses." Linda tried to speak. Nothing came out. "You are both being investigated for wire fraud, theft by deception, and charitable fraud. These are serious charges. We need you to come to the station to give a statement." "Are we under arrest?" Sarah whispered. "Not yet, but that may change depending on your cooperation." Sarah looked at me, makeup streaked, hair disheveled. The performance was over. "Mark, please, don't let them do this." "You did this to yourself." Martinez cleared his throat. "Mr. Shen, did you provide the evidence we received?" "Yes, my lawyer compiled everything. It's legitimate." We'll need your full statement. Can you come in this afternoon? I can. The detective motioned for Sarah and Linda to come with her. They stumbled toward the door. Sarah looked back one last time. Mark, think about Lucas. You're doing this in front of our son. I am thinking about Lucas. I'm teaching him that liars face consequences, that stealing is wrong, that you don't hurt people and just walk away. I'm his mother. You're a criminal who happens to be his mother. They were escorted to the police cars as neighbors came out to watch. Someone was filming. By tonight, this would be everywhere. At 6:07 p.m., Channel 2 ran the story. Lucas and I were at my brother's house. I called him as soon as the police left, told him everything, and he invited us to stay there. We watched the report together. A local GoFundMe campaign created to raise money for a mother's cancer treatment has been exposed as a fraud. Sarah Shen and Linda Morrison allegedly faked a stage 4 pancreatic cancer diagnosis to solicit donations from the community. Over 300 people donated more than $22,680, believing they were helping someone die with dignity. The report then showed Sarah's Facebook posts, the staged photos, Linda looking sick. Medical records obtained by investigators confirm Linda Morrison does not have cancer and is in good health. Surveillance footage shows Linda engaging in normal activities, yoga, shopping, dining out, activities inconsistent with a terminal illness. Cut to the surveillance photos taken by James, Linda leaving yoga class, Linda shopping, Linda drinking wine at lunch. Both are now under investigation for wire fraud and charitable fraud.
GoFundMe froze the campaign and is working with authorities to return the money to the victims. Cut to Detective Foster. This is a clear case of fraud. These women exploited people's generosity and compassion for personal gain. We take cases like this very seriously. The anchor's face was stern. If convicted, Shen and Morrison could face up to 20 years in prison. We will continue to follow the case. My brother set the remote on the table and looked at me. You okay? Yeah, it was brutal, but it had to be done. Lucas climbed onto my lap. Dad, is Mom going to jail? She probably is, son. For how long? I don't know. That's up to the judge. You'll still get to see her if you want to. He thought for a while. I don't know if I want to. That's okay. You don't have to decide now. The backlash was immediate and total. By Sunday morning, Sarah's Facebook posts had been shared over 15,000 times. Every local news channel had picked up the story. National outlets were calling it one of the most brazen charitable frauds in recent years. The comments on Sarah's posts were devastating. I donated $200. I trusted you. You're disgusting. My mother died of cancer. You made a mockery of her suffering. I hope you rot in prison. GoFundMe released a statement. We have terminated the campaign and are working with law enforcement. All donors will be fully refunded. GoFundMe does not tolerate fraud. Sarah's employer, a mid-sized marketing firm, also released a statement. We have terminated Sarah Shen effective immediately. We do not tolerate fraud or unethical behavior. Linda's friends abandoned her. Her yoga studio banned her. The restaurants where she was photographed issued statements condemning her actions. Both of them became social pariahs overnight. The criminal charges came 3 days later. Sarah and Linda were charged with wire fraud, federal crime, up to 20 years, theft by deception, state felony, up to 2 years, charitable fraud, state felony, 2 to 10 years, maximum possible sentence, over 40 years each. Alexander called me with the news. The prosecutor is going to be ruthless. The public pressure is immense. They can't afford to be lenient. What now? Arraignment in 2 weeks, then the trial, which could take 6 to 12 months. But, Mr. Shen, they are going to prison. There's no doubt. Good. I am also filing for divorce and requesting full custody of Lucas. Given the circumstances, you will get it. Sarah will fight it. Let her fight. She is a convicted or soon-to-be convicted criminal. No judge grants custody to someone who is going to be serving time. The divorce was finalized months later. I got full custody of Lucas. Sarah was granted supervised visitation 2 hours a week once she was released. The criminal trial was straightforward. The evidence was overwhelming. The jury took 4 hours to deliberate, guilty on all counts. Judge Michael Torres sentenced Sarah to 12 years in federal prison. Linda received 8 years, slightly less because she wasn't the one who created the GoFundMe. What you did, Judge Torres said at sentencing, was not just theft, it was a betrayal of human compassion. People donated because they believed you were suffering. They gave from the heart, and you exploited that. You deserve every year of this sentence. Sarah cried, begged for leniency, talked about Lucas needing his mother. The judge was unmoved. You should have thought about your son before you committed fraud. 2 years after everything fell apart, Lucas and I were doing well. We moved to a new neighborhood, a fresh start, new memories. Lucas was in 3rd grade, doing well in school, attending therapy once a week to process everything. "How do you feel about your mother?" asked Dr. Jennifer Park, a child psychologist with 18 years of experience. "I don't know," Lucas replied. "I love her, but I'm mad at her." "That's okay. You can feel both things. Your dad says she made bad choices. Your dad is right, but that doesn't mean you can't love her." "Do you still love Mom?" Lucas asked me that night. I thought about the 9 years of marriage, about believing in someone who never truly existed. "I love who I thought she was, not who she really is." "That's sad." "It is. Are you mad at me for loving her?" "Never. She's your mother. Love doesn't go away just because someone does something wrong." He hugged me. "You're a good dad." "I'm trying, son." Sarah called me from prison last month. We hadn't spoken since the trial. I had blocked her phone, email, everything, but she called from a prison number and I didn't recognize it. "Mark, it's me." I should have hung up, but I didn't. "What do you want?" "To apologize." "For what? Be specific." "For everything. For lying, for stealing, for destroying our family." "I see. Just everything?" "What do you want me to say, Mark? That you forgive me?" "I don't." "That you understand?" "I don't understand. I was desperate." "You weren't desperate. You were greedy. It's different." "I made a mistake." "You made 100 mistakes over 6 weeks. Every lie was a choice. Every fake photo was a choice. Every dollar stolen was a choice." She was crying. "I miss Lucas. He's fine without you. He sees you twice a week with supervision. He's polite. He doesn't ask to see you more. That's your legacy, Sarah." "Mark, please." "I'm hanging up now. Don't call again." "Wait." I hung up. I sat in the car outside Lucas's school, waiting for dismissal, and I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no regret. Just peace. Reddit comment of the day: "Funny how some people think posting a dramatic wall of text fixes everything."